and we know who leads off earnings. It's the big banks now. So I brought 5 of the best and most interesting of the big banks today to take a look at what's happening with these charts, because the banks are hot again. Yes, it's true. They've been surging over the last couple of months since the last earnings season. So what does it look like? Should you be diving in? Let's take a look at these 5 big banks. So the first big bank is one that most people don't know about or don't follow, and it's First Republic Bank, ticker FRC. I've talked about it many times when I've done this particular Earnings All-Stars video about the banks, because it's in San Francisco and it's kind of geared toward Silicon Valley and the wealthy people that are out there. So as you can see, as the stock market keeps booming, look at these shares. They've finally broken out of this multi-year, basically area where they're treading water over this period of time. And now they're soaring. They've been up 41% over the last year, busting out to these new 5-year highs. And they've put together 5 earnings beats in a row after kind of a rocky period there, as you can see, with the multiple red arrows there over the last prior years as well. So could this be a new era for First Republic Bank? I don't know, but this is one of the hottest banks that is out there. And just so you know, for those looking around for dividends, they do pay one, but it's only yielding 0.5%. So you're really buying First Republic Bank for the growth component, not the dividend like you would for other big bank stocks. And speaking of which, the other big bank stocks, the second one is JP Morgan. And this is the only Zacks #1 out of the big bank stocks. That's the strong buy, because those earnings estimates are being revised higher right here. And I can't remember the last time that one of the big banks was a #1. It's been a while, obviously due to the pandemic and the earnings cuts. But you can see here that JP Morgan also hot, trying to bust out to those 5-year highs. It's trying to get there. Can this next earnings report get them there? They've only had those 2 misses in the last 5 years, so they have a pretty impressive track record of meeting or beating. So they really manage expectations well. But this is one, obviously, it's one of the leaders in the industry. Everybody's going to be watching this week. Then switching over to Citigroup. Now, this one is also doing the big rally, as we've seen, but they have no misses over the last 5 years. That's super impressive, especially in 2020 with everything that was going on there. Even if those 2 smaller green arrows are just meets in 2020, still very impressive. So this is also a favorite of everyone on the street and one we're all going to be tuning into. Then we're going to take a look at the black sheep of the family. Yes, Wells Fargo hit those 5-year lows there in 2020, but it too is off those lows. And so is this a buy here? It did meet or beat last quarter, as you can see with that small little green arrow after 4 quarters of misses. So it could mean we might be in a turnaround here, or it could just mean expectations are so low that there's nowhere to go but up. But this is one that a lot of people that looking for a value type play like to dive into. It does pay a dividend, but it's not as great as what you might think, given that it's just off those 5-year lows, yielding just 1.2% here. And then I'm going to wrap it up with a bank that actually isn't reporting this week, but it does report next Tuesday after the MLK holiday. So I wanted to include it because it's one of the key of the big banks as well. Bank of America, BAC. It has a good track record as well, just 3 misses with the 2 misses in 2020. But again, we can't really blame them for what was going on in 2020. And these shares too, off those lows, trying to race up there to get back to those 5-year highs. Can it get there? This one pays a dividend slightly higher than some of the others, yielding 2.2% here. But these kinds of charts are all looking similar because the bank story is the same. But as those yields start to rise, people getting more optimistic about the banks, and about the recovery that we might see off the coronavirus going forward here. So the big banks are leading off the charge for earnings season, but we're getting a lot of the other regional and small banks in the first couple of weeks here in fourth quarter earnings season. So you want to tune into that story too. We'll be hearing from banks like PNC, Comerica, and others, and they're going to tell you more about what's going on in certain particular states and more on the smaller business side than some of these big global banks will do. So be sure to tune in on those, and be sure to tune in for all of the Earnings All-Stars videos, because they're going to be coming at you like crazy now here in the next couple of weeks as we have the FANGs coming up and all the other hot growth names. A lot of them will be kicking off at the end of January. So be sure to subscribe. You can get all of our videos on Zacks.com/YouTube. But be sure to get them over there, and I'll see you again with some more earnings charts.